Yes, the 24-inch requirement for 0 to 600-volt cable found in National Electrical Code Section 300.5 applies to multi-pair telephone distribution cable. National Electrical Code Section 300.5 details the requirements for underground installations of wiring. This section provides specific guidelines for the minimum burial depths of various types of electrical cables and conductors, depending on their voltage rating and application. The primary reason for specifying minimum burial depths is to provide physical protection to the cables and conductors from potential damage. This damage could result from various sources, including but not limited to digging, landscaping, vehicular traffic, and soil erosion. By burying cables at a sufficient depth, the likelihood of accidental contact or damage is significantly reduced, thereby enhancing electrical safety and system reliability. The 24-inch minimum burial depth requirement for 0 to 600-volt cables is a common standard within the National Electrical Code. This depth is generally considered adequate to protect cables from most routine disturbances and environmental factors. However, it is crucial to note that this is a minimum requirement, and in certain situations, a greater burial depth may be necessary to provide adequate protection. For example, in areas with heavy vehicular traffic or where the soil is particularly rocky or abrasive, a deeper burial depth might be warranted. Multi-pair telephone distribution cable, while carrying communication signals rather than electrical power in the traditional sense, falls under the purview of National Electrical Code Section 300.5 due to its potential to carry voltage and its integration within electrical systems. This type of cable is typically used to distribute telephone services from a central point to multiple individual locations, such as homes or offices. Because it is considered part of the overall electrical infrastructure, it is subject to the same safety standards and installation requirements as other low-voltage cables. When installing multi-pair telephone distribution cable, it is essential to adhere to the 24-inch minimum burial depth requirement specified in National Electrical Code Section 300.5. This ensures that the cable is adequately protected from physical damage, which could disrupt communication services and potentially create electrical hazards. In addition to the minimum burial depth, there are other important considerations to keep in mind when installing underground cables. Firstly, the cable should be installed in a manner that prevents it from being damaged by sharp objects or rocks in the soil. This can be achieved by providing a layer of sand or other suitable material beneath and above the cable. Secondly, the cable should be clearly marked or identified to prevent accidental digging or excavation in the area. This can be done by burying a warning tape or marker above the cable, indicating its presence and type. Thirdly, the cable should be properly grounded and bonded to ensure electrical safety and prevent the buildup of static electricity. This is particularly important for cables that contain metallic components or are installed in areas with high electrical activity. Furthermore, it is essential to comply with all other applicable requirements of the National Electrical Code and any local codes or regulations that may apply. These codes may specify additional requirements for underground installations, such as the type of conduit or raceway that must be used, the spacing between cables, and the grounding and bonding methods. Failure to comply with these requirements could result in fines, penalties, or even the rejection of the installation. In summary, the 24-inch minimum burial depth requirement for 0 to 600-volt cables in National Electrical Code Section 300.5 applies to multi-pair telephone distribution cable. This requirement is intended to provide physical protection to the cable and ensure electrical safety. When installing underground cables, it is crucial to adhere to this requirement and all other applicable codes and regulations. This will help to ensure the reliability and safety of the electrical system and prevent potential hazards. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a comprehensive set of standards and guidelines for the safe installation of electrical wiring and equipment in the United States. It is developed and updated every 3 years by the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. The NEC is widely adopted by state and local jurisdictions and serves as the basis for electrical inspections and enforcement. The purpose of the NEC is to protect people and property from electrical hazards. It covers a wide range of topics, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. The NEC is constantly evolving to keep pace with new technologies and changing safety concerns. Section 300.5 of the NEC specifically addresses the requirements for underground installations of wiring. This section covers a variety of topics, including minimum burial depths, wiring methods, and protection against physical damage. The minimum burial depth specified in Section 300.5 vary depending on the voltage of the wiring, the type of wiring method, and the location of the installation. For example, direct buried cables operating at 0 to 600 volts typically require a minimum burial depth of 24 inches, while rigid metal conduit may require a shallower burial depth. The NEC also provides specific requirements for protecting underground wiring from physical damage. This may include the use of conduit, encasement in concrete, or other protective measures. The type of protection required will depend on the location of the installation and the potential for damage. In addition to the NEC, many state and local jurisdictions have their own electrical codes and regulations. These codes may be more stringent than the NEC and may include additional requirements for underground installations. It is important to consult with local authorities to determine the applicable codes and regulations in your area. When planning an underground electrical installation, it is essential to consider all applicable codes and regulations, as well as the specific conditions of the site. This includes factors such as soil conditions, potential for flooding, and the presence of other underground utilities. By carefully planning and executing the installation, you can ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. Multi-pair telephone distribution cable is commonly used to provide telephone service to residential and commercial buildings. This type of cable typically consists of multiple pairs of insulated wires that are bundled together and protected by an outer jacket. The cable is designed to carry low voltage signals and is typically installed underground. The installation of multi-pair telephone distribution cable is subject to the requirements of the NEC and any applicable local codes and regulations. This includes the minimum burial depth requirement specified in Section 300.5 of the NEC. In addition to the NEC requirements, there are also industry best practices for installing multi-pair telephone distribution cable. These best practices include using proper tools and techniques, avoiding sharp bends in the cable, and ensuring that the cable is properly supported and protected. By following these best practices, you can ensure that the cable is installed safely and reliably. When working with electrical wiring and equipment, it is important to always follow safety precautions. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and eye protection, and energizing circuits before working on them. It is also important to be aware of the potential hazards associated with underground installations, such as digging near underground utilities. By following safety precautions, you can reduce the risk of electrical shock and other injuries. In conclusion, the 24-inch minimum burial depth requirement for 0 to 600 volt cables in National Electrical Code Section 300.5 applies to multi-pair telephone distribution cable. Adhering to this requirement, along with all other applicable codes, regulations, and best practices, is crucial for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Always prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals when working with electrical wiring and equipment. Remember that the National Electrical Code is not a substitute for sound engineering judgment and proper installation practices. It is a minimum standard that should be supplemented by additional measures as necessary to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. Always consult with a qualified electrical engineer or contractor if you have any questions or concerns about the installation of underground wiring. They can provide valuable guidance and expertise to help you ensure that the installation is done correctly and safely. Furthermore, remember to keep abreast of updates and revisions to the National Electrical Code, as it is updated every 3 years to reflect new technologies and safety concerns. Staying informed about the latest code requirements is essential for ensuring compliance and maintaining the highest standards of electrical safety. In addition to the specific requirements for burial depth and protection, the National Electrical Code also addresses other important aspects of underground wiring installations. These include requirements for grounding and bonding, overcurrent protection, and wiring methods. Grounding and bonding are essential for providing a safe path for fault currents to flow back to the source, thereby minimizing the risk of electrical shock. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect wiring from overheating and causing a fire in the event of a fault. Wiring methods refer to the types of cables and conductors that are permitted for use in underground installations. The National Electrical Code specifies the types of wiring methods that are suitable for various applications and environments. When planning an underground wiring installation, it is important to carefully consider all of these factors to ensure that the installation meets all applicable code requirements and is safe and reliable. In addition to the technical aspects of underground wiring installations, it is also important to consider the environmental impact. Underground wiring can have a significant impact on the environment, particularly if it is not installed properly. For example, digging trenches for underground wiring can disrupt soil and vegetation, leading to erosion and habitat loss. It is important to minimize the environmental impact of underground wiring installations by using sustainable construction practices and minimizing disturbance to the surrounding environment. This may include using trenchless installation methods such as directional drilling, which can significantly reduce the amount of soil disturbance. It may also include restoring the site to its original condition after the installation is complete. By considering the environmental impact of underground wiring installations, we can help to protect our natural resources and ensure a sustainable future. Finally, it is important to remember that electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. Whether you are a homeowner, a contractor, or an electrical engineer, you have a role to play in ensuring that electrical installations are safe and reliable. By following the National Electrical Code, adhering to industry best practices, and taking appropriate safety precautions, we can all help to prevent electrical accidents and protect people and property from harm. Electrical safety is not just a matter of compliance with codes and regulations, it is a matter of ethics and personal responsibility. By making safety a priority, we can create a safer and more sustainable world for ourselves and future generations. And remember, when in doubt, consult with a qualified electrical professional. Their expertise can help you navigate the complexities of electrical codes and regulations and ensure that your electrical installations are done safely and correctly. In addition to all the technical and regulatory considerations, remember the importance of clear communication and documentation throughout the entire process of planning, installing, and maintaining underground electrical systems. Keep detailed records of all work performed, including cable routes, burial depths, and any modifications made to the system over time. This documentation will be invaluable for future maintenance, repairs, and upgrades. Communicate clearly with all stakeholders involved in the project, including homeowners, contractors, inspectors, and utility companies. Ensure that everyone is aware of the potential hazards associated with underground electrical systems and that they understand the safety procedures that must be followed. By fostering a culture of clear communication and meticulous documentation, you can help to prevent misunderstandings, errors, and accidents.